Tough conversation today, gang. We're talking to someone that's not really bringing any revenue into the business. They've got other businesses that are profitable. It's a business that operates in the mental health space and they just can't get any bleeding customers. So we're going to have a tough conversation because maybe this isn't the right business to carry on building. Let's listen in. Hello, campers. Welcome back to Business Broadcast. JB and I are back. Hello, mate.
That's very, very nice grammatically there. JB and I.
Yeah, that's how you should say it.
You've become very posh since you come back from China.
Thanks, mate.
Minding your T's and crossing your P's or P's and Q's or whatever the phrase
There you
is.
go. Some of us are speaking properly and others are not. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about with our guest today, and I just sort of underlined it and jotted it down in this here notepad.
Oh, okay.
Hungry audience.
Yes.
I think not enough entrepreneurs and business owners think about that little phrase when they start a business.
No.
And I think a lot of people have what I call Elon Musk syndrome or Richard Branson syndrome or even Jeff Bezos syndrome. They do the thing they really want to do, which is space tourism first. And those three that I've just mentioned have done space tourism last. They've built it on the back of businesses where there was a massive hungry audience that wanted to give them money. Now, in the case of Richard Branson selling records for £1 or £2, whatever it was, outside a phone box, for Elon Musk, PayPal, people wanted to send money around the world on the internet very quickly, huge hungry audience there. And Jeff Bezos wanted to buy stuff on the internet and get every book in the world. There was an audience there that were hungry and they wanted to buy right flipping now. And unfortunately, if you are choosing the craft of entrepreneurship as the way to support your family, I think hungry audience needs to be at the top of the list.
Yeah. I think you're exactly right. You can be very guilty going, oh, this thing's brilliant. Everybody needs this. Everybody wants this or everybody needs it. It doesn't matter whether it's a want or a need. Oh, everyone. But just because they should have this or you think they should have it doesn't mean there's actually a hungry audience for it. And that might be the conversation that we're about to have. I've just read to the bottom of challenge 1 and I think some very honest and potentially tough love is going to have to be dished out in this one, especially because there's a lot of big things at play here, just to get into the bottom of challenge 1. And I think you're exactly right. And you always give the analogy of the hungry audience. Like literally, if you look at hungry audience, like where's the best place to have a hot dog stand? Outside a stadium where there's lots of, where there's a sporting event, because there's lots of footfall and lots of people are generally hungry for that thing. It's very dangerous.
And there is a signal, because it just means, we spoke to James before we came on air and he started using economy excuse-itis, and I don't, we're going to talk to him in a minute, but he said, because of the economy, no one wants to buy our products and services. Is because of the economy, getting funding for it is difficult. It's not that. Because I recently had a conversation yesterday with my finance broker, and he's just approved more loans in the last 2 months and got funding through. He said it's getting easier. He said it's getting really easier to get money out to people.
Really?
Yeah, he said like Barclays, who are like the most cautious of cautious. He's just done £9 million plus loans with them, and they've all been approved in the last 8 weeks. He said it's like really starting to get easier again.
And is that a sign of the wider economy getting easier?
Well,
I think
if you're making money and you've got good businesses, cash is going to start finding their way into the economy. I mean, we are now coming out of, I think, tough times. I think we're going to start improving again.
How quickly do you think?
9 months, 12 months, I think things will start seeing easier. But look, if you got banks lending money and signing off loans, where does that cash go? It goes back into the economy. If someone's borrowed £1 million to, build a warehouse or, build a restaurant or extend their business premises, that cash goes to labourers, it goes to materials. It all fizzles its way into the economy. And I think there's been a tightening of that over the last 24 months really, and I think we'll start seeing a little chip away of interest rates. I definitely think we'll see a reduction by the end of the year, little by little, but even if we see just a little pip lower on interest rates, that's going to give people the confidence to go again.
And half of it then is the confidence that's driven and derived from the narrative, isn't it? As soon as the BBC goes, oh, we're out of these tough economic times, and the Chancellor said this, and the Bank of England have reduced interest rates by 0.25%. For the wider population, that probably doesn't make that much of a difference, but it's just that mentality, the signal. You're like, oh, okay, cool. That gives you the confidence to crack on and move forwards.
And high interest rates have killed me. I mean, it's cost me well over £500,000 extra on all my commercial mortgages, all these stupid loan interest things.
What, for the year?
Yeah, an extra £500,000 a year compared to 24 months ago, whenever it was next to nothing. But I'm so glad they put them up, because everything was getting out of control.
Yeah.
Property prices, food prices, and it is starting to work. My concern is now that, the second interest rates come down even just by a little bit, I think property prices will go sky high again.
Yeah.
I think, everyone's holding out, aren't they, for interest rates to come down?
Yeah.
But then all their first time buyers are going to then start immobilising, looking for property. It's going to start going up again and probably cost them more.
Yeah. We moved out of our last house because the landlord decided he wanted to sell.
Yeah.
And he's selling it. It's a 4-bedroom detached house. Like, it's a nice gaff. But it's still sat completely empty. I drove past it the other day, 5 months later. And so he's lost out now on 15 grand's worth of rent.
Yeah. Silly.
And when I was chatting to him, he said, oh, it's the economy. As soon as interest rates come down, I'm thinking, for £1 million house, he's put it on for £1 million. I'm like, that's absolutely, it's not worth £1 million, frankly. I don't know where he's getting that number from. But if he thinks that, a 0.25% change in interest rates is going to be the thing that someone goes, oh no, I'll buy it for £1 million. I'm like, but I guess it shows that intent, or what it signals to the market.
Yeah. But there are great businesses that are, like the Rossi Ice Cream Parlour, one of my businesses. I mean, it's having an amazing year.
Is it really?
Yeah, if there's people, if you've got the right thing, people want to buy it. Our roller skating ring, record year.
Really?
Our indoor play centres are having it off. Our farm parks and the outdoor attractions are not having it off as much, but I think that's...
Is that a weather thing?
A weather thing, yeah.
Because the weather's been crap,
because all of our indoor businesses, other than the
really
Rossi Ice Cream Parlour, which is obviously ice cream, I mean, you don't have to be bloody the Dr. Wright of business and entrepreneurship to work out that ice cream sells better in the summer. But like the winter...
You've got a backup plan, haven't you, for that? Because you do other really good food in that location. So it's not just ice cream. Still ice cream.
The sunshine is the thing that sells ice cream, but it's still doing really well. Like today, like we're on a weekday and they're queuing out the door.
Really?
So I think, look, we can use the economy for excuse-itis. And yes, high interest rates, recessions, they do cause some businesses challenges, but the right entrepreneurs pivot out of that and get themselves into where the money is. They follow the money. And unfortunately, I think we have to be honest with James, I think if there isn't a hungry audience for this, whether you're doing the right thing at all, but if James is really passionate about this, and I'll be telling him this, make a load of money elsewhere and then give this away for free.
Yeah.
Make it a charity.
Yeah,
that's what I would be doing.
Should we touch on some of the challenges then?
Let's
for giving people context. So we always asked the guests in advance for some of their challenges within the business. First and foremost, we said, who are you and what do you do? So James and the company's called The Informal. So if this sounds like it's your sort of thing, definitely get in touch. But The Informal provides storytellers to improve mental health in the workplace and beyond. We're not just your typical well-being platform for corporations. We're a social enterprise that brings real talk to the table. Forget the usual marketing spiel. We're about in-person engagement. Our speakers share genuine stories, tackling mental health responsibility head on. We're not just ticking boxes or checking boxes. We're building a workplace where real conversations happen, making mental health a priority in a down-to-earth way. So that's what they do. Challenge number one, the biggest challenge we have is funding and investment. How do you grow a business when the pot is empty? I built The Informal straight from my personal battle. I own 2 other businesses, but dealing with the grief of losing my mum, a baby at 22 weeks, peak pandemic, after 6 rounds of IVF, I cracked. The help I needed just didn't exist in the workplace or anywhere else. It was a story of someone else's struggles that helped me, so I did the same. Shared my story and created a platform for inspirational storytellers to help people struggling with all life's challenges. I kick-started it from a network rooted in my first business, a barbershop. Now I'm on a mission to grow this venture, but I need the power power traditional healthcare connections and investments into promotion. This company thrives on core values and delivers realistic outcomes, focusing on issues that impact 95% of us. It's not just a business, it's a commitment to building something meaningful, leveraging the power of genuine connections, extending it to make a real impact on people's lives. But he says, however, how much do I put into it at the sacrifice of my own life? If my wife and I want a child, we need more IVF and surrogacy. That costs, say, £100,000. At what point do I stop investing into my company that so far netted zero profit, despite huge potential and great feedback, and instead evaluate my potential future? Do you choose business or life? I mean, that's just challenge number one.
I think I've already answered what I think I'd do, and I can't wait to tell him.
Should I carry on with the other challenges?
I mean, let's give the headlines, because it did sound like quite a lot to
Challenge 2, competing in a world obsessed with celebrities and AI with our in-person service faces a unique challenge. Instead of chasing trends, we're tapping into the power of real talk, real life heroes to motivate teams, companies and communities.
Can I just, so here's the thing as well. He wants to go into companies and do talks and stuff like that. Someone messaged me the other day on LinkedIn. I mean, and I just tell you how hard this is, and said, James, I'd love to come and speak at one of your events. And he said, I'll actually do it for free just because I want to get into the speaker set. I went, mate, you ain't going on my stage. There's only a couple of people. You're one of them, and Daniel Precy. The only two people that I've ever allowed to speak in my events other than my own team. And I said, and he was asking, how have you, done with all your speaking? How do you get all the gigs? I was like, it is so difficult to get speaking gigs and get people to pay for this stuff. And that's in the entrepreneurship and business world. This is even tougher, I think. And I think it's a unicorn that makes money out of speaking and builds a business out of it. And you'll know them because they are headline brands. They are Tony Robbins. They are,
Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, Success Resources, that gang.
And even then, I don't think some of them are really making that much money. No. They pay a lot of money to do marketing, get bums on seats, and have to upsell into other programs. But people that are actually paid to speak on stage, that is a very tough industry.
Yeah.
Tough.
To the point where you actually sort of touched on it there accidentally. A lot of people when they're starting out are paying to speak on stages.
Absolutely.
You're not getting paid to speak. Forget like speaking for free. Because people who are, it's almost a little bit naive, like, I'll come and do this for free for you. No, a lot of events are, come and
you pay 10, 20 grand to speak on our stage.
Yeah. And if it isn't a direct pay to speak, then it's like, we only have it for our vendors or our sponsors or our people who take a stand. So you have to pay for a stand for 10, 20 grand.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I say, that's in a sector where realistically, they are talking about entrepreneurship, marketing, business, stuff that people
where there's
think
money
that they
sloshing
actually want
around.
It.
Yeah.
Whereas this is, people might need this, but they probably don't want it, unfortunately. So that was challenge number 2. Challenge 3, companies say they want to improve their employees' health, but the truth is they're not willing to pay for it. There you go. They think fixes like yoga and apps, which ultimately keep people on a screen longer, will help. They're scared of real talk when it comes to everyday problems. It's no secret that these are difficult times. Huge companies are making hundreds of redundancies. Hiring support is at the bottom of the list for most. That's challenge number 3.
Hey gang, James here. Great news. Business Masterclass is coming back to London. This is my ultimate 2-day event that will grow the profitability and size of your business so that you can have a commercially profitable enterprise that works without you in it. I've run this event before. People absolutely love it. We get rave reviews and I'd love for you to come along. Imagine 400 business owners in a room serious about growing their business. Imagine the connections you can make. I'll be on stage teaching you all the stuff that I've learned over the last 20 years in 2 days to seriously scale your business up. If you want to find out how to buy companies, raise finance, get customers, and make your teams as profitable as possible, then this is the event for you. Look, it comes with my 100% money back guarantee. You come along to this event, and if at the end of day 1 you go, do you know what? I haven't got 10 times value out of what I've paid for this. I'll just give you your money back. And here's the great news. tickets are only a few £100. And there's no sleazy sales on the day. It's just me delivering all the stuff that I know about growing businesses. And I can't wait to meet you. I'll be there. We'll have a little chat with the other 400 people in the room. It's big enough, but intimate enough to really learn the stuff that I know that scales businesses. Cannot wait to see you at Business Masterclass. Now, every year the tickets go like hotcakes, so make sure you get your ticket now. The tickets are £299 as we're making this video, but they grow in value depending on how late you leave it. So get your tickets now before the price goes up. And I'll see you at Business Masterclass to grow your business.
Where do you want to be in 1 year's time? I want to elevate our company's presence in the corporate market while establishing a strategic partnership with a healthcare provider. I'd love to create the informal as an event too, a place for the general public to come and hear inspirational, relatable stories. What does a business look like when it's finished? I don't think we need to go into that, do we? Should we get it across the line?
Let's speak to him.
Should we just speak to James? James, welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being on, my friend.
Hello, lads. You all right?
We are very well, thank you. So I know you've been hearing a lot of stuff.
Love it. Thank you.
Give us the quick summary sales pitch of the informal and how it became to be. Obviously, I've touched on it a little bit there, mate, but give it in your own words.
To be honest with you, you've covered it all. Like we started a few years ago. We got a lot of press on the BBC, Channel 4, stuff like that, and it just sort of snowballed from there, really. I did a couple of gigs myself, and as a result, we thought we'd start a company and see how it goes. But as you've said, it's a hard one.
Listen, I mean, the website's beautiful, by the way. You obviously know how to do some nice design stuff. One of the things I think, let's talk about your barbershop, because to me, that's a hungry audience business. People have got long hair, they want it cut. It's completely recession proof. People will find
the money. Very well, very successful.
Yeah, people will find money to have their hair cut. I mean, it was one of the booming industries after lockdown. All people wanted to do it was a running joke for every man in the UK that wanted and woman wanted their hair done. It was like top of their list of things. So I even remember Boris Johnson saying that in Prime Minister's questions, that he can't wait to get a haircut, and so that's a hungry audience business. There's money there for it. You're going to get money. This business, the informal, as laudable as it is and as important as it is, because you're not getting cash in, is because people don't want to give money to this sort of thing. They just don't.
No money, no mission, isn't it? That's the basics, isn't it?
But what I would do, like if this was my passion, I've got my own charity, Party Man's Magic Makers, and I'm very passionate about it, but I can do Party Man's Magic Makers on the back of my commercially profitable enterprises. I pay for the staff to run it, and we, subsidise it hugely, and 100% of what we raise, we give away. I can do all of that good stuff on the back of having a profitable business that people want to give money to. And that's where I would go with this. Build amazing, profitable businesses. And if this is your thing that you're so passionate about, use some of your profits to build the informal, and then you build your position in the industry, and then you speak to other businesses and say, look, you should get involved in this. I'm putting some money into it. Do you want to? And I've got so many amazing business owners that support Magic Makers. Like we do a ball in a night, we raise 50 grand at our ball from the Magic Makers ball. But it's I think you're going to I think in 5 years' time, you'll be similar to where you are now. You might have a few golden moments that keep you going, but this will be a very difficult business to grow. And all this,
I think you've confirmed everything we thought, really, mate. To be honest,
yeah. But you shouldn't give up on your passions. But you obviously Can I just say, when I look at that website, that if you've been the person behind that, and you can present and you can talk, if you put that into a hungry audience business, surely if you need that 100 grand, why don't you just build 5 barbershops?
Very true.
If you've done one and it is a commercially profitable enterprise, times it by 5 and go and get your IVF and have your baby. And this is the thing, this is your hobby, this is your passion, this is your giving back to the world.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
Not everything we do in life needs to turn a quid.
No.
True. Very true.
Some stuff shouldn't. Some stuff should be done for enjoyment.
Yeah. what legacy as well.
No, I appreciate it, honestly. I really do.
I think this should be a podcast. I think it should be. I think it should be a podcast. I think this kind of stories that change people's lives, this would be really powerful, and it wouldn't be too time consuming. It wouldn't be too laboursome for you. It wouldn't have to be too costly. I'd turn this.
Well, this is we've got some incredible people work with us, but people we can't talk about publicly on socials just because of the parameters around the legalities of it. But on podcasts, you'll be able to change their names, things like that, and promote them. So maybe that is a way forward.
If you turn this into, you had a podcast, and you've done 200 episodes and like put the effort into it, you'd get sponsorship eventually, and you'd have to bring in some money to help run Informal. And
a really good model that I would look at is a high performance podcast. So Jake Humphreys and Professor Damien Hughes, so they started it out just being a podcast, and then they've turned it into an app, and they've got coaching programs.
BBC Sports guy, isn't
he? He was.
He was.
And they've this high performance app that they've now got. They do powerful life affirming documentaries. They do loads of really interesting and cool stuff. They've done it with unlike a. I think there's a team of 9 of them around the project now. Don't get me wrong, it's obviously bringing big revenue, and Jake actually also owns a production company called Whisper TV, which has probably helped him to get it up and running. But again, as Jimbo was saying, if you think this should exist in the world, then do it in the format that's not going to cost you your livelihood, I would say, in order to make this happen, because you can still have an impact without having to negatively impact you, which is where I think this is potentially going to lead, if not. Yeah,
let's talk about, just quickly, one of the most successful men in the world is Bill Gates. There's no two ways about it. I listened to Good Bad Billionaire, which is a brilliant business podcast that you, unfortunately, again recommended.
You're welcome.
It's worth going and listening to Good Bad Billionaire, because they rate billionaires. They say if they're good, they're bad, or just another billionaire. And Bill Gates gets a lot of slack because everyone says all this naps. Says that he's.
I think he's brilliant, personally.
Yeah, he's injected people with, that he created the COVID virus so he could sell all these vaccines. All of this, these stories on the internet, whatever. But there is no denying he has saved millions of people's lives with medicine in South Africa and stuff. But he's only been able to do that on the back of Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's the message I'm giving here. His giving, his pledging to help people, he didn't have to go and try and raise money. He didn't have to go and ask governments if they would put some money in. He said, no, I'm just going to put $1 billion here, $1 billion there.
Start a foundation.
Yeah, and I'm just going to be judge, jury and executioner of where I decide to give my own money away. And then you get rid of the bureaucracy. You can just get stuff done. And I think, James, if you build successful commercial profitable enterprises on the back of hungry audience trade, you can then, do the stuff that you're really passionate about. And look, how old are you, James?
40.
40. And you really want to have the baby, do you and your wife?
It's a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, and you need $100,000 to get that over the line.
Well, we've done 9 rounds of IVF now, so it's now surrogacy. My wife suffers with a condition that, for sakes of fertility. So, that is the only step for us now. So you do need to raise the money to do that, $100,000.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then the fastest way of doing that is through trading businesses, and it's not the economy. I know, look, yes, there is economic highs and economic downs, but we can use that in entrepreneurship as excusitis. People, there's a little phrase that I was writing down when JB was talking to you, and it's this: sell them what they want, give them what they need. And I was talking to a friend of ours some years ago that JB knows as well, that was doing a life coaching, mental healthy thing, which I'd put your category into that, James.
Yeah,
but he was doing it for business owners. And I said, sell them business coaching. Tell them that you're a business coach. They will want that more than them thinking they need their head sorted out. So he sells them that, but what they really need is the mental health improving life coaching stuff.
In all fairness, I do that as well.
Yeah.
It's a sideline I've been doing for a while with small retail businesses.
Yeah, sell them what they want, give them what they need, and that. It's difficult. I mean, it is becoming more. But in businesses, are we going to put money into mental health, and then they get the bill, or we're going to put money into marketing, and then we'll do that next. Like, you'll never be the top priority. I hate to say it, and you're going after corporates. You're not going after small to medium size. You're going to have to go to corporates that can afford to do this stuff, because small businesses are just trying to survive to the next payroll. That is the reality of it. So you've got to go after, and then they've got to get that through. And I just think it's difficult.
It's a hard sell. It is, 100%.
To build something that people want, that they want to give you money for straight away.
Completely agree. As you can probably tell.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to ask Jamesy?
No, I'm all good, mate. You've said what I needed to hear.
How did you find out about the pod?
I just accidentally come across it one day on LinkedIn.
Oh, wow. So have you watched my YouTube content or listened to any of the other podcast shows?
I've watched a couple, yeah. I actually saw your TikTok interviewing about coffee shops
years
ago.
Wow.
And then I know Marsh Farm because I'm from Brentwood originally.
Oh, yeah. What school did you go to?
Essex boy. Headley Walter.
Oh, I went to St Martin's. So I'm from Brentwood.
You're a posh boy. Boy.
Yeah, I'm from Brentwood, yeah. Whereabouts in Brentwood did you live?
Pilgrim's Hatch.
Oh, right, yeah. My best mate lived there, yeah.
You was the posh end of Brentwood, weren't you?
Yeah, I lived off Priest Lane, yeah. Quite posh there.
Oh, did you? Oh, God, you're well posh.
I left home very young, though. There you go. Right, well, look, thanks for being on, mate. I wish you lots of love and success.
Appreciate it, James, and the other James as well. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Appreciate it, lads.
All the best. Thank you for being on the pod.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Well, short and sweet on this one for us, JB. I don't think we should grade here.
No,
I think he just needs to. He's putting a lot of effort, and go and check out the Informal website. By the way, you can just tell he knows some stuff.
It's a cracking website.
He's got a barber shop that's obviously making money. It's just funny, and sometimes they come on and have a conversation with us, JB, and go, "Yeah, I should really just go and open up 5 more barber shops. Why am I not doing that?"
I think he heard what he needed to hear there, didn't he?
Yeah, there was no resistance. Was there,
at all. At all, which I thought there was going to be. Considering he'd written War and Peace, I was thinking, he's going to back his version of reality here.
Do you feel like people come on for permission sometimes?
Very rarely, but that was one of them. I think he's been sat there with. I think he's sat on the fence of going, I really want to do this. I'm passionate to do this. I think he probably he heard a story that maybe really helped him at when he was going through the worst period of time in his entire life.
Yeah,
and he wants to be able to give that back, but there's other ways to give back without having to, give up your own life for it, really, which I think is the instance that he would be going for there. And just to your point there of like having a hungry audience and finding the right people, I've got a mate of mine who went on to Dragon's Den and got funding from all 5 dragons, but then didn't actually take it in the end because of the politics or the box ticking or whatever. There's a male makeup brand called War Paint for Men, and it went absolutely ballistic and went viral on the internet. And Danny, who runs it, I used to go to school with him, and he's subsequently set up another company called Jack, which is just ask any question. And Mo Godat's just joined their board of advisors and all this sort of stuff. And it's basically
Dodge Woodall has invested in that.
Oh, has he?
In Jack.
Oh, has he really?
He's really passionate about it.
Yeah. So there you go, for example. But their first corporate client was Holland and Barrett. Then they got into RBS, and now they've partnered with Bupa because they actually had something that they wanted, which was the technology to be able to do mental health almost at arm's reach. And that's why it's taken off the way that it has. And there's a lot of talk about funding, and it's going to be like a potentially even more of a success than War Paint, which is now like a 10 million quid a year company.
What is a male makeup brand?
The clues in the title. It's just makeup for men, like foundation. So Danny.
Do you use it?
No,
I don't think so.
I walked straight into that one, didn't I? Yeah, take the clown out of the circus. No, he launched it. He had what is called BDD, body dysmorphia disorder, which is a mental health ailment. And he had he couldn't leave the house. If he thought like one hair was out of place, he's had like his hair replaced and all this sort of stuff, and he really didn't need it. And he had this like awful crippling self-confidence because of his looks, and he used to use his sister's makeup when we were teenagers, unbeknownst to me or any of our other sort of pals who went to school with him. And then he launched this makeup brand called Warpaint, and it's took off like a rocket.
Wow.
Listing Sephora and Selfridges and all that stuff. Wow. All around the world. And now
every day is a school day.
And Jack, he's launched off the back of it, and now that's
I've heard multiple people have mentioned Jack to me. So
30 odd staff now, and as I say, like Bupa, Holland and Barrett, you can go into. They've got Jack booths, so you go in there. So basically, I think they've quizzed like 600 of the leading experts on different stuff like mental health, depression, anxiety, self-harm, and you could ask or interface with the technology and ask it a question instead of it being like typing it out, like what is body dysmorphia disorder? Or how do I know that I've got body dysmorphia disorder? How do I know if I'm depressed? And they've got the world's leading experts on this stuff. But again, to the point there, he's in the same sort of realm as where James was at, but he's found a hungry audience because of the way the technology that's delivered it, rather than it being, if he said to people, "Oh, I've got Mo Godat who would come in and do a talk on grief from losing his son," that's probably a harder sell than Mo Godat in your pocket on a bit of technology.
There we go. Well then, gang, if you love our podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel wherever you are. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please rate and review. If you'd like to come on to this podcast, you can come on to this podcast, especially if you're trading business and you've got challenges on how to grow. It's completely free to come on. You apply on the website, jamessinclair.net. Click on the podcast button. There's an application form, and we'll do our very best to try and get you on. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.